What's up, everybody? And welcome back to the Sean Lowery Show. And I have a great guest today. He's a 3D printing designer, a teacher, a creative and passionate dude who's building an army of 3D printers. His name is Jayson Wall. What's up, Jason? How's it going?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Slow and steady. How you doing today?
Cool. I'm doing great, man. It's a beautiful day. Can't complain. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to you. So I think that 3D printing is just fascinating, and I don't think it gets enough attention. One thing I liked when we were chatting that you said is, why aren't more people talking about it?
I know. Yes. No, it's definitely I think a lot of people are talking about it, but a lot of people aren't talking about how to make money with it. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about how to make money with 3D printers, actually printing things, but
right. Yeah, because I feel like just in the main world of everything going on, I used to hear about 3D printing a little more, and I feel like it dropped off. But then again, I think it should be more popular, but I also got to say, I don't really know. I know nothing about it. And but I'm an entrepreneur. I'm fascinated in future technologies.
Yes, me
too.
And
I went looking for someone who could come on my podcast and kind of educate me about this.
Definitely.
Me and the listeners, I thought you're the guy for it. So
I appreciate that.
Why don't you just start with all right, the very basics. If someone has no idea, what is 3D printing?
3D printing is a new manufacturing process where you take a file from the internet or something you create, and then you put it into a software, which sends a piece of code to a 3D printer or 3D printing machine, and then the printer will ooze out plastic, kind of melts plastic, like a hot glue gun, essentially, and then moves around in a grid and does, just spits out plastic layer by layer until eventually it creates an object. So it's an additive process.
It can create a literal
thing,
physical product that is 3 dimensions.
Yes.
That makes sense. 3D
it's
printer.
Amazing. Yes.
And the plastic part, is it always plastic?
Yes and no. For the most part, most people are using plastics, but you can do metals. Those are higher end, $100,000 machines, $1 million machines can do metals, and you need more high, industrial power at the moment. And, in a few years, we'll be able to do it in our garages. But for now, mostly plastics. People are doing it with wood, but there's plastic in it, it's still plastic, but it's got a lot of wood in it. People are doing it with hemp. They're doing it with coffee beans. I saw a guy out in Amsterdam and somewhere in Europe doing it with mycelium, so mushroom material essentially. So they're trying to kind of replace plastics because plastics have a lot of toxins. And we don't really need more plastics, in our world. There's already enough, huge plastic problems. So my hope is it's going that way.
Cool. Yeah, I understand that point of view.
Yeah.
But so the one of the words I've learned in my little bit of research is filament.
Yes.
So is that the word for these? All these things are filaments.
Pretty much. Yeah. That's for your average, hobbyist. Everyone's buying rolls of filament. It looks like weed eater string, colorful weed eater string, and then it just comes into the machine and it will melt it at about 400.
Weed eater string.
That's what it looks like. It looks like weed eater string.
What is that? That's that green little.
Yeah. That. It's about the same size, and it's just on a spool. Here, I got some.
Yeah.
Here, let me grab some. So, for anyone watching video here, I know most people are listening, but this is, some flexible glow-in-the-dark filament.
Okay.
So,
So that will get put into the printer, and it will kind of melt down and form and then shoot out of I'm guessing the nozzle and do the printing?
Yep. So it's kind of like a hot glue gun, a sewing machine, and a 2D printer had a baby. And that's a 3D printer. And there's a lot of different kinds, This is just your average Joe kind of hobbyist printers.
Right. So in that home one, I think it's the size of a box, maybe?
Yeah. They're usually print dimensions are about roughly a foot by 1 foot. So you can do a foot by a foot cube. That's pretty large. The cheaper printers are smaller. You may have a half a foot or even smaller of like actual build volume.
Okay. Yeah, so it's actually not that like complicated of a thing. Yeah,
it's getting simpler. Yeah, it's getting easier. Yeah. When it first came out, like it started in like the 80s, like 87.
Oh, really?
Like, and it was just like big warehouse, just like computers. So it's just going through that same evolution.
Yeah, just like any technology, it takes a lot of time to advance.
Yeah.
So the at-home ones, like the cost of like someone who wants to start at their house, like what's like the price range if you want to just buy one and for a hobby?
Yeah. For when I started back in 2013, 2014, I spent like $3,000 on a hobbyist printer, but now you can get them for like $100 to $300.
Okay.
For a good one, like a nice,
for a good one.
Like a really good one.
Okay, because for my business, I have embroidery machines and direct-to-garment like T-shirt printers, so I know a little bit about machines.
Yeah.
And one thing I know about machines is they take a little bit of work and they have a little bit of like maintenance, and it doesn't always go as perfectly as you want it to go. And you have to deal with it. Is there still some of that?
Totally.
I would imagine.
Yeah, all the marketing you see is just not true. Like it's like, oh, it's just gonna spit out this amazing, perfect object. It's like, no, it's definitely got a learning curve, and you have to be kind of a tinker type mindset type of person for right now. I mean, I'm sure they'll get it in the future where it'll be like a microwave. Kind of idiot proof.
And what's some of the tinkering you have to do? Do you have to like while it's going stop it and move something around?
Oh yeah, it's tedious. Yeah. It's like just like leveling it or getting the temperature right. Every different type of filament might have different properties. Like that's why like people on YouTube, it's so popular because everyone can help each other.
Because they need the resource.
Yeah, they need it. Yeah, everyone just
YouTube is a great place to get information.
Definitely.
That is so cool. Like, so if anyone who has one that's like a hobbyist or at-home person, it's basically anything you could think of that's like the size of a shoebox or smaller, that's plastic. Like, it's probably a lot of fun for the community to like think of what little gizmos and gadgets you can make. What's like some of the favorite things that you've made?
My favorite things, I like practical designs. Like there's a lot of people like on Instagram and stuff. It's just like little trinkets, like little baby Yodas or like Spider-Man things. I'm just like, whatever. Like, that's just like, it's cool and cute and all, but like, I like solving problems with mine, like things that can do things. I really like practical printing. And so I see a 3D printer more as like a problem solving machine.
Cool.
As long as you know design.
Right, exactly. So that takes some effort, I'm sure, to learn.
Yes.
So like there's the hobbyist level, but then the next level is like, so say a young entrepreneur. So I was thinking about this because I'm an e-commerce guy. I love selling online. And we have like real products. We ship them to customers. But a lot of people who start up and they just want to like have an e-commerce site, they do drop shipping. So basically they sell other people's products because they're just at home with a computer and they have the internet, but they don't want to deal with manufacturing or shipping
or warehousing or
all the logistics of that. So in my head, I'm like, this, it's a little bit of manufacturing like we talked about, but it's really cool for someone like that, a young entrepreneur who wants to sell products online. That I would imagine that one of the cool parts is you can list a lot of products and you don't have to store them or get inventory of them. You just make it if
you get an order. Yeah,
so
definitely.
That seems like for a young starting entrepreneur, this could be very interesting technology to think about. You
definitely.
Agree?
Couldn't agree more. And that's kind of what my company is trying to teach more people how to do that, because the overhead's pretty low. You buy like a $20 roll of filament, you can make a couple hundred things. So it's kind of like for someone who knows how to use a 3D printer and design, it's like pennies or dollars to create a product.
That's crazy.
It's just the time that it takes to print right now.
So
it's just slow.
It's slow.
Slow.
How long does it take to do like a cube the size of like a dice or something like that?
Okay, that would be like 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay, that's really small.
Yeah,
okay.
Here, I got something here too. This is like a little boat, maybe an inch and a half tall, maybe inch and a half.
It looks like a little bath toy. But
a little thing.
But smaller than small.
That's about an hour or two.
About an hour,
depending on your settings. Yeah.
Okay.
So
if you wanted to do like something bigger, the biggest thing you can possibly do inside at home thing, how long is that?
It could be 24 to 48 hours.
Wow. Yeah. And how many times in that 24 hours might you have to like go back and like watch it?
Hopefully not ever, but if you have your setting, if everything's dialed in, it's like kind of set it and forget it. But if you are new, then you might have to babysit it from time to time, or go check on it, make sure it's not like falling over or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that can happen.
Oh yeah, totally.
And like if you don't would that be if you don't set it up right properly yourself or something?
Yeah, usually, or you want like a good solid first layer, like that good foundation, just like anything in life, like a house or whatnot. So you just want that strong foundation, and then hopefully if you've got that, then everything should go according to plan, as long as
I saw online that a lot of people, they put a little camera in their 3D printer so they can just like go to the store and like watch it and keep an eye on it.
Yeah, make sure it's not catching on fire. Like, but I haven't had any fire issues or anything.
Can you leave the house if something's printing? Because 24 hours.
You can, but I don't really like telling people to do it because like it's just legal. Like I have done it, but I don't recommend it. And I don't try to. Usually I'll try and like not do that. But I also have my 3D printers in like an old beat up farm truck right now because I live out in the middle. Yeah.
I've seen some videos of you like podcasting and talking to your audience, like from a van or something.
Yeah. Now my grandpa, when he passed, he gave me this old beat up 1974 Chevy truck. And so I was like, what do I do with this? And I was like, and then so we downsized and we're doing the whole tiny house thing, and we're eventually going to 3D print a house or like a workshop.
Hey, that's very entrepreneurial of you.
Yes. So we're in our early entrepreneurial stages.
I love that, man. Yeah. It's exciting.
It's ups and downs, as you probably know.
I do.
So we're in the ups and downs right now, but we see the long-term goal and it's very exciting. So we're just grinding every day. And so now the truck is the 3D printing wagon. I got 3 3D printers in there. My little office.
Cool. So you are currently like selling. I saw on your website you have a little Truth or Dare thing, like a cheese wedge. You have some really cool stuff, like Amazon Echo or Google Home, something you can like put around it to like give it muscles or something, which is awesome.
Yeah, just fun stuff.
so you're one, selling them, and then two, you are helping other entrepreneurs or young startup people with this whole world, right?
Correct. Yes.
And do you find a lot of people that have a lot of interest in it?
Yes, there's definitely a market for it. I think most people are still it's still early. So I think a lot of people are more early. They're like, I'll just go download free files on the internet,
Okay, so let's talk about the files.
Yes.
So, all right, so you have an idea in your head. You want to make like the cheese wedge, the cheese wedge doorstop that you have.
Yes.
Now you buy a at-home one for $3,000. You have your filament, and now you need to actually make it. Right. Like, now, how do people make these?
So you have a few options. You could either go onto online sites like Thingiverse or myminifactory.com, or there's a bunch of them. But this person would just type in what they're looking for, kind of like a Google search, and then you get all these options, and then you download them, hope that it works. And send that file to a printer.
Some are better than others.
Definitely. Yeah. Thingiverse is kind of notoriously known for like just having broken files.
Okay.
Like people just throwing up crap,
Okay.
And then so they would find it and then send it to their printer.
And when you say throwing up crap, you mean like a design that like would break? Like when it's printed?
It's like not built for 3D printing, because like anybody can make like a 3D file. Like, just open a 3D program and make it. But that doesn't mean that it's 3D printable, because it has to be watertight, like no holes, no gaps. Gotcha. Like it has to be all one mesh. So some people, don't know what they're doing.
You start printing it, and it's just a bunch of errors.
Yeah, and usually you can see there's a slicing software before you send it to the printer to kind of prep the file. You can usually see that there's errors in that part of the process. So you're like, it doesn't work. And that's kind of a lot of the issues with
so that part seems very interesting, because yes, you can go take other people's things and make them, but from a business mindset, if you want your differentiate your product, you want to have something like original, then
like premium.
So if I want to make a t-shirt, we go to Photoshop and we design the product.
Right.
We could take some pieces from the internet, but like we have to know how to do that.
Right. And the legalities, and all that.
Yeah. So I'll talk about that in a second. That's interesting. But you just would pull up the program, and I think I saw that it's called Blender.
Yes, that's
like the Photoshop of this world
of geometry. Yes, so
of geometry.
That's more. Blender is usually for animation and like things like that. But I've kind of hacked it for 3D print design.
Nice.
I'm kind of one of the only people doing it, but there's also like Tinkercad, which is like for very, very like entry level. You know, when I taught like little kids, I would teach them Tinkercad because it's colorful and it's easy, you know. So
was that program designed to make 3D print modules?
Yes. Tinkercad is. Blender is not necessarily. They have tools in there for 3D print design, but nobody's talking about them. So I'm like, yo, guys, there's like this amazing software. Like, why aren't we using this?
I wonder if like Adobe will get into it because
they are. Photoshop can do some 3D design, and they know it's coming, so they're touching into it. They're also getting into VR and 3D models and stuff. So.
Very interesting. All right, so the business guy, he's got his setup, and now he wants to create original ideas.
Yes.
Now, I'm assuming that these sites that we can just take stuff for. Are they like you're allowed to use them? It's like non-copyrighted music, but
kind of it's very weird because it's like sometimes I'm like, why did I pick this industry where everyone just wants everything for free? It's a very open source. You know, 3D printing is open source. The designs are like open source. You know, make your designs and give them away for free. You know, that's what this whole industry is.
That's like the community kind of.
Yes.
Well, that can change once some big guys get involved.
Totally, and that's kind of the thing is like. I'm trying to find that line, you know, is like giving away things for free, but also having premium files, you know, like trying to figure out that dance and also helping other people figure that out too.
Right. And you're trying to build your audience too. So you want to do some free stuff where they start trusting you as a resource.
Right. And just seeing the quality of it.
Right. And that's a separate business than somebody who just wants to print them and sell them.
Right.
But so one of the skills that person might want to develop is how to, you know, because you can come up with an idea. I think I saw online someone like turned an Xbox controller into a little steering wheel.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So like that was that's a cool original idea.
Yes.
And then when it comes down to like copywriting, I'm sure that it's just like any other business. And right now it's kind of like the Wild West.
Yes.
That's
Totally.
Cool.
Yes.
That's cool.
So and like there's like some of these sites like Thingiverse and them are getting a cease and desist from like Disney, you know, because like people are doing their Star Wars Baby Yodas and they're like, hey, there's all that going on too, which is very interesting to me. I love intellectual property rights and nobody's talking about it. So that's why me and Amber, my lover lady, she's like, that's what our podcast was starting to talk about and kind of going in that direction.
Yeah, I've dealt with that like for intellectual property because we sell like monogram shirts, but like some of them will have like this girl runs on Duncan or like
where's the line at?
And like the line is very gray,
right?
And what it comes down to, but we've got a lot of letters, like and most of the time it's just like a letter, and you're like, all right, like I'll take it down after this sale's over,
right.
And I take it down for a little bit, and like even if that product got taken away from us, it wouldn't take over our whole business, like
right.
So like I would not advise that someone start a 3D printing business just around Disney products.
Totally, no, and that's what I'm an advocate for that too. Like I understand that that's what is popular on these social sites and things, but at the end of the day, I want to empower people to take their ideas and create original ideas because that's the coolest thing,
right? And if you blow up, like
you own it 100%.
Disney will let you get away with maybe selling like 4 little 3D printed Mickeys, like, and they might send you a letter, probably not. And if they do, they're probably not going to do anything about it. It's just a warning
or a scare tactic.
But it's definitely a scare tactic. They don't want to send lawyers to you and all that,
right?
But if you blow up, you can't. It's not sustainable, like,
right? And you're just banking off somebody else's stuff. That's why
exactly.
It's just cooler to do your own original. So that's where I'm going. That's what, because for the past few months or years, I've been building the beginner course with kind of like just simple designs, just to not intimidate people, you know, that want to learn. But now it's like I'm ready to dive into like the premium, like advanced designs and like making super crazy products where people are like, oh shit, like that's crazy.
That's such a creative like experiment. You have to think about what can I create a value? Plastic that's this big.
Yes, that's like, this big, and something that can help people. So I'm thinking mainly for like cell phones because people love their cell phones. They're obsessed with their cell phones. So
like a pop socket type thing.
Anything like it could. I'm just gonna think of crazy ideas for that, like things that for their dogs and cats, or you know things that can help them around the house. You know, like so it's literally endless. So I'm just gonna teach people how to make products and then how to eventually how to print on demand, you know, 3D print on demand.
That's awesome. So I love the on-demand concept. Actually, my business is kind of like that.
You are, you're on demand.
It's one of the reasons I'm interested in, because we print we sell personalized clothing, and like it's not like people can come to our website and get whatever they want, but like we don't start getting the product or even making the product until after it's ordered, which is by definition on demand, because every single thing is personalized.
That's
now,
great.
Now, one thing I think about with a young entrepreneur, and they start their business, they have like maybe 10 products, and one of them just blows the fuck up and takes off and gets like 10,000 orders.
Right.
Now, at that point, should they maybe look into manufacturing them like overseas or something like that?
Or in the US, like, there's companies up in New York, like Shapeways or Materialize, that you can just outsource it. There is a wait time. So, you would have to pad that into your offer. Like, hey, it's personalized for you. You're going to have to wait a week or two.
Right. But what if it's not? Like, what if it's not? What if it's just like a keychain on Etsy and it just says like lover or something like that? And you get 10,000 orders and you're like, this is amazing. This is going to take me a month for a year, forever.
Yeah.
So maybe for some of those type of people who sell stuff like that, 3D printing can maybe just be like the start of it, and then if something takes off, they can outsource the manufacturing of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for that problem. But I think I would do it in batches where I know I can. I don't really necessarily want to 3D print 100 files for people, because that ties up my machines. I can't make new designs. But
but it's great that at that point, it's great that you're selling them.
Right. Yeah. And so that's where I like the digital file. I like the idea of having digital assets, because you have an unlimited supply. People can just buy the file, instantly have it, and then make it at their house. So I like that. But not everybody has a 3D printer, so there has to be that open side for people who don't have the 3D printer but just want the thing that they saw on Facebook.
They might not care if it's 3D printed or not.
They don't care. They just want it because it's cool, or it's an impulse buy, or it's going to help them in their life, or look cool on their dog or whatever.
Exactly.
So I'm going to be trying to figure that kind of area out, and then sharing what I find along the way on YouTube and everything.
That's awesome. So so I got the small plastic, that size. I saw a couple of things that were like, I think one was literally AirPods. Now I don't know if it was just like just a little joke box, but then I also saw a Apple Watch charger. Now I don't know if they just took a charger and like put something over it that was 3D printed.
Possibly.
Like, can you combine it with like some other type of technology, or like if you heard 3D printed Apple Watch charger, what's your first thought?
Copyright.
True.
Yeah, that's what I think of.
But my first thought was like, what's the electricity element there?
Right. They might just be putting it around it, possibly, and then just kind of riding off the hype of Apple's marketing. That's probably
what
what
it seemed like.
It is.
That makes sense. Sense. Something else I saw that I thought was interesting was like painting and sanding it. Basically, the post
processing. Yep.
Yeah, like if you have a toy. Yeah. And it's like a Buzz Lightyear toy. So, so you can 3D print it. But if you 3D print it and it's all one color, that's not what the kid wants.
No, not at all.
Yeah, they want.
They want what they both are used to.
So then, say you're selling that and you 3D print it and it's all what color is it? Gray.
It could be any color. I mean, literally any color. Yeah. If you
want to paint it.
Yeah, if you want to paint it, and that's what I hate. I hate post processing. Like, I don't want to 3D print it. I don't want to paint it, sand it. Like, I just want it to like appear off the print bed and like pop it off, and it's ready to go. So I want to focus on design. And
so you need to think of products that can be valuable like that
right off the print bed.
Right. So sanding, that's interesting. So that is maybe like if there's hard edges, or something like that. Totally. So a 3D printer can't do like a smooth surface.
It can, but like, you've got to have your settings dialed in great. The temperature's got to be there's little variables.
It's harder.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on your printer too, and like just a lot of variables. But yeah, I mean, this one was printed. It's relatively smooth. There are a few tiny little blemishes.
Did you have to sand that one at all?
No, I didn't. Okay. I mean, I picked it off, with my finger a little bit, but nothing like crazy. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not what they market it. It's not going to always be. It's more for just like rapid producing ideas. And then once you've got that, then you can send it off to get it mass produced.
You can totally tell that it's in its infancy.
It's totally yes. We're early.
So. What is like the future of it? Like, so like
4D printing. No.
Well, I actually want to get to that, but hold on that.
Yeah.
But what industry should we pay most attention to this? Or like in the future, is it always going to be faster to? are they increasing the speed of the manufacturing as time goes on?
Yes, they're trying to figure it out. I've seen some that are getting really a lot faster. There's Carbon 3D, which Google's like spent billions or millions of dollars of investment capital just to get it. But, you know, they can say like they could print something that would take 10 hours. They can do it in 10 minutes, you know? So I think that's really when it's going to start taking off, is when it's that fast. Like it has to be faster. Like it's never going to last at this speed right now. Like even I'm annoyed by the speed of it. And like I used to teach little kids and I'd be like, hey guys, we're going to make this ring. They would make their little ring. Right. And then they'd be like, how long is it going to take? And I'd be like, it's going to take 10 minutes. And they're like, 10 minutes. Like even 10 minutes was too long. I was just like, geez. This is crazy.
Yeah, and then that's a kid. But then if I would be acting the same way as from a manufacturing standpoint. I'm like, we got all these orders. Yeah.
It's not as fast as injection molding or anything. You know, mass producing, but
it's great.
Hopefully, we'll get there.
but it's great for like a small business person who can list the products, not knowing what will sell, especially someone who's just starting. Then maybe none sell, but if one sells, you can make one. But then if something takes off, you can like test the waters.
Right.
So it's good
or
for
outsource.
like or outsource. So it's good for like prototypes. All right, so that's like small business, and then so like an average mid-sized company, like are there certain industries that should be like kind of pay attention to this? Like, is there any like comparable like technology that exists now? Like I'm trying to imagine like a company that makes like tools or toys.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen like car companies are getting more into it, but that's more metal. You know, they're trying to find like smarter ways of design with less material, less waste, you know, stronger. So I've seen car companies, air or like space, NASA, you know, NASA's 3D printing rocket parts because of the advantages, but it's all additive manufacturing, you know, instead of like starting with a block of metal or wood and carving it away and having all this waste, you're only using what you need to create the product. You're just just evolving.
I'm trying to think of businesses that this might have like a more immediate effect on. I'm thinking of maybe like a Kinko's, right? So they're like known as like a print shop.
Right.
So people think I got to print something, I'm going to go to them. I want to laminate it.
Yes.
I want a banner. Like, do they have like?
They're not even doing it yet. That's why I still like it's so early. Like they're not.
Also,
UPS.
I don't think their customer base, like Kinko's customer base, would even be like, oh, I need something. Let me get it 3D printed. They wouldn't even maybe have requests for it
or even know what it is.
Right.
I mean, we're still super early, but I mean, I noticed that it was interesting whenever like all the pandemic hit. You know, 3D printing kind of got this huge boost because they couldn't make a lot of the masks and stuff. So, but everybody in their garages could like make hundreds and hundreds of these to give to their local hospitals and stuff. So it was interesting to see like people go like, oh shit, like 3D printing is kind of a valuable thing, you know, like they can make products like on the fly. Like this is pretty awesome. Yeah. So that was cool to see.
So that actually makes me think of like the one thing you hear about the most with 3D printing. You know what I'm going to say, right?
What?
Guns.
Oh yeah. Oh, totally.
So my first thought on that is like
my mind went somewhere else.
Oh really? So, like, what were you thinking of? Like sex toys or something?
I was like, yeah, sex toy. I was like, I don't know, where are we going?
Okay,
guns.
Guns, I feel like that's because you know the media is always trying to pull your emotions. So like
totally.
They put that out there. But like I don't know a lot about guns. I'm not a gun guy or anything like that.
Right.
But like my first thought is like you can like there has a lot of like velocity in that. Like. Can you 3D print a gun that can like actually kill someone? Like, could you do it?
I'm sure you could. I mean, you'd have to have the files, but I think the files, they were legal, then they were illegal. Like, it's just like this back and forth kind of thing.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I just don't get,
I wouldn't shoot one. I wouldn't hold it with my hand. Like, I don't trust that plastic.
I just don't get how it can like project. Like, I don't know how guns work, but I'm imagining the 3D printed gun, shape of a gun, and then I don't know, maybe a little 3D printed bullet, but like you put it in there and then you hit and like imagine it like falling out of the front. Like I can't imagine it.
I think so. The gun is plastic, I think, but then they just use a real bullet. But I think they only get a couple fires out of it.
Like
maybe 2 or 3.
Maybe?
Yeah, heat and just the pure force of it, I guess, but I could be wrong.
I just don't get how they get the projection of it.
Yeah, they're figuring it out. Yeah, they're figuring it out.
So that 100% has to do with the making of the file.
Yes, it all comes back to design. That's what everyone's like, 3D printing, and I'm like, guys, like the money and the power and the coolness is all in the design process. The machines are going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. The filament's going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. But the design, like the idea, the intellectual property that you can charge thousands or hundreds, for that. Or hundreds of thousands, depending on who you're working with.
Exactly. And anyone else who say they have an invention, they will just sketch it and then have to go to a manufacturer, and they don't even know if it's possible yet.
Right.
But so this is probably great for just little inventors.
Exactly. Yes. People with ideas who love to solve problems. Like that's me. That's who I'm trying to attract and talk to.
Okay.
And who I'm trying to become friends with all around the world. People who have just ideas. Because when you start learning 3D design, you will start to see everything differently. You'll be walking through a store and be like, Psh, I could make that. If that had this on it, that would be cooler. Or you'll be looking at little pieces of stuff and be like, you'll just be like, oh, that's just two cylinders melted together. It's weird. It's just your brain just starts thinking differently.
That's really cool. And especially for product stuff, which is awesome.
Yes.
So all right, so we talked about small business and average size business. So huge businesses like Amazon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are they? I would imagine.
I think you
mentioned Google. I would imagine Amazon is tipping their toes in the water somehow.
Yes.
I guess I saw that there's the biggest one was a public company called starts with the S.
Stratasys. Yes.
So they're every time I Googled anything about 3D printing, they came up first on a Google ad.
Yeah.
So that company, what did they do? Did they make the machines?
I think they were one of the early people of I think they're just manufacturing, but they acquired MakerBot, which was an open source company that went closed source and then was hated on by the whole community. So Stratasys bought MakerBot, kind of repaired their broken products. I know I've been doing a lot of research, companies to buy stocks in for 4D printing, which I think is the future. And Stratasys is one of the main ones that are coming up. General Electric.
So explain 4D printing.
4D printing.
Because I'm what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's what is 4D anything? Wait, real quick.
Just time. Over time. 4D is just over time.
Over time. So 2D is a piece of paper. 3D is a 3D is three-dimensional. What is an example of something in life that is 4 dimensions?
So the easiest way I like to explain it is imagine 5, 10, 20 years from now, right? You go to the store, you download or something gets mailed to your house. It's this little box. Maybe it looks like this, a 1 foot box, right?
Okay.
You open it up and there's this thing in there, and maybe you add water or you add heat or you add something to it. And over time, it opens up almost like a piece of origami. It just slowly unfolds and then maybe turns into a couch or a bed. So, or something like that. Or I've seen also I think of it as origami in reverse. If you know Japanese paper folding.
Yeah.
So it's that everything's pre-folded in the software, and then whatever agitator that it needs would undo that and open it up. MIT's been doing a lot with it.
It could be way bigger.
It could be way bigger. It could be.
I've seen a couch. That's a good example.
It could be. Yeah, that's just something later in the future. It could be I saw these cool blinds. Imagine you have a big window in your bedroom. Yeah. And you have these organic looking, almost looks like nature-esque kind of shapes or blinds, right? And as the sun hits it, they'll because it's warming up, the agitator is heat. As it's getting hotter, as the sun's coming up, they may turn and block the sun. So it's kind of almost
it's
programmable
technology.
Yeah, it's programmable materials, things that will change over time.
And so, what would need to be added to it now? Because that's just plastic. So
right.
Is it technology? Is it electricity?
I think it's code.
What is it?
Inside of your design.
What?
It could be, I think of skin almost as 4D. When you cut yourself and it's over time, your body repairs it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love the human body for
added
that.
Yeah, it's our body does 4D printing. That's what I think. So I'm it's got to go in that direction. I could be totally wrong, but I'm just it just seems like a technology and kind of nature, merging back together.
Dang, that's something crazy. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah,
because you cut yourself, the body heals. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure science knows how to explain that.
Hopefully, yeah.
Cell regeneration or something like that.
Something, yeah. It's like a little bitty little worker something's
and
patching it all together.
And if you think of like a worm, like an earthworm, something like that, you chop it in half and it's fine. You can regrow. Like that definitely exists in nature.
Yeah, so I feel like it's just inevitable. Once we get to quantum computing and stuff, like it's just expand.
I'm trying to think of an example where that might exist in technology, like a computer shuts down or restarts. I don't know.
I know MIT's been dabbling with it, and their examples are like really simple. It's like a piece of like thing, and then they drop it in the water. It's just like a little straight piece of plastic, and then they'll drop it in water, and then it'll like bend and curve over a few hours, and then it'll spell like MIT. So it's like super basic. We're still like we're barely getting started with 3D printing.
But they set that in the code at the beginning for it to be added to water, and then it does that. That's high. That is some high level stuff.
Yeah. So that's where I think it's going eventually.
And you mentioned food.
Yes.
3D printing food. Okay.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. So apparently, I've been reading some like futurist books, and they're all saying like food's going to be the biggest industry. So I'm like, okay, what companies are doing this? Let me invest in some 3D printing food companies.
3D printing food, like what?
Like I've seen 3D printed sushi. I've seen 3D printed like fake.
So I thought meat. I'm thinking about plastic in my head.
No, it's not.
Obviously, you can't eat plastic.
I don't know how they're doing it, but yeah, apparently
different filament per se.
Yes, it would be like organic filament or something. Imagine like you take like a potato or something, and you figure out how to dry it out or something. And so apparently, you can make the food last longer. Or imagine like McDonald's figures out a way to like get rid of employees or something, and like all they have to do is like put a machine in that makes French fries. Like I could totally see them doing something like that. So like you just type in on the app on your phone what you want, and then a machine spits it out.
So the 3D printing technology is the one that would spit it out. But a lot of the you can plastic 3D print a French fry right now.
Totally.
But the key would be the filament.
Yeah,
and that's where the technology and the science and that's where that comes in. So different filaments and they have to have the ability to start as something and then go into the machine and be at least some type of liquidy for a while, right?
Yeah,
it has to
heat it up or something.
Yeah, it has to. Like you mentioned a glue gun earlier, and that's the idea I have in my head, because it starts as hard, then it gets hot,
warmed up.
Warmed up, and then it can be shaped, and then it dries.
Yeah.
So it has to be able to go through that process of being hard, then soft, and then hard. I know you mentioned sex toys earlier. Is that
no, totally. It's all
hard, soft,
connected.
hard. Yeah, there you go.
But who knows? And there's another thing I was reading. It was saying like, imagine you go to your doctor, and the doctor's like, "Hey man, you need to lower your salt intake." You may have a 3D printing food machine in your kitchen, in the far future, where it's going to wean you off slowly every day. It's going to take a little bit of salt out of your breakfast every single day for 6 months, until eventually you don't even notice that there's not salt in it. So it's like that could be something for food printing as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's so incredible. Like, so, and then like, and our like big companies, like you talked about NASA using the technology. Is that because they need to be really light by the time they go up to the moon or Mars or wherever the hell they're going?
I guess it could just be for the design, like what they can do. They can do it in-house. They could do it in a different style.
I'm thinking they're on the space station and they need a certain product and they don't have it.
Exactly. They're doing that. They have that. Lowe's partnered up with the International Space Station, had the first 3D printer in space, so they could print like wrenches, or if a tool broke, they could just send up a file and be like, "Oh, cool, we're just gonna make another one real quick."
They could send up a file. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right. And they'd be screwed otherwise. You can't just have the post office deliver to the space station.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Or it would cost way too much. And then there's the so we're right now in the single material phase. That's why everything's one color. I've seen more and more starting like on Instagram. There's some people that have multicolor extruders where it's kind of like your normal,
What's an extruder?
Printer.
What's an extruder?
Extruder is like the end of the glue gun. It's that like triangular cone shape.
Like a nozzle. Like
it just heats up. Thing? That's where the heat is, and it'll push through that the
so if you had like 4 little holes in there, like if you have like a frosting on a cake.
Exactly. Yeah. So right now they're starting to get into the multi-material, but I think later you'll be able to. I mean, this is later down the line, but we'll be in the multi-material phase where you might buy your new iPhone or new phone file from the Apple store, but maybe you go to, if everyone had a printer in their house, or you have one in your neighborhood or whatever, then or a truck is driving by, spitting out. I don't know how it would be, but eventually, it would print the metal, it would print the circuit board, it would print the glass, but so that's like way down.
So there's a possibility,
possibly
that they're household items like a toaster.
Could be,
and when they buy things from companies, they just get the file.
Possibly. That's one argument. Yeah.
That would be insane. Talk about transporting. Like
and
that's
saving cost.
Oh my God.
Unlimited supply.
Wow.
You could just send a file. You have a proprietary file that can't be shared or something.
Right. There'd be tons of copyright involved.
Totally.
In that. So copyright is coming to this. There's
it's going away. Who knows? It's disruptive tech. I love disruptive tech. 3D printing, AR, VR, artificial intelligence. I love all that.
So interesting. Yeah, I have a Tesla, which is an electric car. Driverless car.
I saw that.
And I am just so fascinated by the driverless element, and that's the reason I've been interested. And Bitcoin's interesting to me. That's actually my most viewed podcast is about Bitcoin.
Yes.
But this is one of those things.
Yes,
that
it is.
They don't you don't know where the future is going to be.
Right.
And is there anyone there trying to shape it? I guess this company. What's the name again? That company
Stratasys. HP, GE, they're all doing it.
But they're just HP and GE are already big, huge,
innovators.
Successful companies. So they're that's just like a arm of their business.
Right.
And they're in it.
It's
and
like
I'm sure
R&D. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're able to compete with everyone. But it's what do they say? Is
I don't know.
Are they? Because somebody's gonna have to sell the printer.
Right.
That's cool. Just like someone has to sell the toaster.
Right.
But then someone will have to sell the toast, which would be like the filament. Mm-hmm. And then that could be the same company or different company, or there could be a bunch of different companies and they all compete.
Yeah. Or there could be a company that pops up like an Amazon who's just, because there was, when I first started, it was like, there was one train of thought where it was like, nobody's going to have, majority of normal people are not going to have a printer in their house. It's just too tedious, too time consuming, whatever. And then there's the other thought where it's like people are just going to order what they want and then it will just appear at their house. They don't care how it's made, so there's those two kind of
and then
theories.
Maybe from Amazon's standpoint, they might have a 3D printer, a very big, the best one out there.
Right.
At the closest location to you.
Exactly.
So that if you order something, you can get it faster.
Yeah. It might be a 1-day shipping or a 3-hour shipping.
Right. And they're already trying to do that.
Yeah.
By spreading out. Way long ago, I used to send products into the warehouse and they have you send them to 3 different locations. So
interesting.
Yeah. If I'm sending in 500 shirts to FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, I send 200 here, 100 here, and 100 here. And sometimes it's even broken down differently than that. 33 here, 58 here. But they do that because they have some crazy algorithms where they want to make sure they have enough on hand. And I'm sure they factor in how many are being ordered from each area.
Right.
But obviously their whole goal is to get people things fast as possible.
Fast.
That could put people out of business or it could help people do better with their business.
Yeah, it's going to do both, I think. I mean, with anything
it's a disruptor. That's a good way to put it.
It's a disruptor. Yeah, it's gonna destroy a lot of tedious jobs, and it's also going to create a bunch of new ones. And I think one of the biggest ones is going to be 3D print design. So that's why I'm learn design. Everybody learn design. This is a superpower in the future.
And you teach design, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm I'm trying to be one of the best designers on the planet, and I'm just gonna create an army of people with me and just be let's go, guys.
The designing element. I love that. Yes. You got your army and
let's go.
The king. The king of your army when this technology takes over. So the design, so you have an idea in your brain.
Yes.
And then you have to go to the computer to design it. I am terrible at art. So with Photoshop, is it a skill or is it an acquired skill or a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I think
I know how Photoshop works. I know how it works. I've had to learn it. Doesn't mean I can make an amazing piece of art.
Right.
Is it similar to that, you think?
Yeah, I mean, everything's hard until you try, just like riding a bike. But I think just the more you practice at anything, you're going to get better at it if you want to. Right. So, but I think, we are around 3D objects all day, so it's like we're used to being around 3D objects, and then just knowing what the buttons do and how to move your view around, I think are the hardest parts. Of when you're first starting. Like when I was teaching little kids, they would never move their view around because everything they're used to flat, and so they would put things together. It looks like they're touching, right? But then the moment they turn their view around, they're like 4 inches apart from each other, because it's all forced perspective. So it's just that little learning curve of like knowing what tools are available, and then how to move around like you would in normal day. Like
on a computer.
But yeah, it definitely, I feel like it's more for like the next generation. And that's kind of what I started. I was like, I'm going to go teach little kids because they're going to love this stuff. And they could care less. Like they were just on their phones and on TikTok and like all that kind of stuff. There would be that one little engineering kid in the back who's like, dad is an engineer. And he would be like, wait a minute. I can make anything. And I'm like, yeah, you can totally. And he's like, oh, this is amazing. Everybody else, like the other 40 kids, couldn't give a,
They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck. And they're like, when can I get back on my game?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, it's cool. It's cool, but like, if they went to a warehouse manufacturing factory, they wouldn't care either.
No, not at all. Yeah. And that's what I was like, okay, I'm going to teach adults or find people online around the globe who want to learn how to do this instead of like going to kids in middle schools and high schools, in their STEM programs or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's been a lot better.
So what type of people do you find are most interested? Is it more like engineering type people? Is it more like entrepreneur type people?
The demographic is like 18 to 45-year-old males.
Okay.
like little girls. I wish there were more girls interested in 3D print design or 3D printing, but it's just not cool to them unless it's like
interesting.
Yeah, they just don't. It's just not as popular.
It's like
I wish it was.
Are they? Is it more like nerdier kind of?
Oh yeah, it's totally nerdy. It's totally nerdy. It's still like super early, so it's like not main. It's not as mainstream,
Right.
So I'm just that's one of my things. I'm trying to make 3D printing cool. More cool.
That's a great move. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'm interested in it from the can we make money on this level? Which I think is cool.
I think that's great too.
I'm not a nerd, come on, but like I figure out the shit I need to figure. Yeah, I need to figure out the shit I need to figure out. Like I'm an expert on like embroidery machines and digital printers and shit because like that's my business. So like
you need some digital assets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
Oh man, but even for my business, like monogram things, like okay, so if I go online right now and I want to buy a 3D printer.
Yes.
And I want to sell keychains, monogram keychains.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah,
perfect product.
Perfect.
For,
small, low overhead.
Yes.
Quick.
And I could absolutely, if I wanted to sell heart keychains, I could absolutely get them made over, not overseas, anywhere. Outsource them to a manufacturing plant. Mm-hmm. But I can't do that with monograms. So if I wanted to go get one.
Right.
What are my options?
You could go to Amazon. That's pretty much it. Amazon or China, and order one online.
No. I mean, for me to get a machine.
To get a machine? Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, I want to make monogrammed keychains. Sell them on my website.
Yeah. So Amazon. Yeah, you would just go to Amazon.
Yeah.
And
like, what company sells them?
Mainly places in China.
Okay.
There's a few people in the United States.
Okay. There's no
and
like
a lot in
names.
Europe, UK.
Like Brother, that company, Brother. You know that company? They're like a Japanese-based company. They make a lot of like at-home printers and.
Okay.
But also they're the company that makes my digital printing t-shirt machines. Like they manufacture industrial
machine
products.
Gotcha.
I don't think they have a 3D printer yet.
Series, you're right.
I'd be curious to see if like big companies that are already doing that do it. But okay, whatever. So like, but what are the different levels? Like you said, a $3,000 box. Could I get what if I want to invest $15,000 into a machine? Can I get
Yeah, you get a really nice one.
So what would I get? So would I get something faster? Would I get something bigger? Would I get something better quality? Like if I pay more for a machine, what am I getting?
So if you're going to pay more, you may lose a little bit of the like tweaking headaches. Like it may be more user friendly.
Okay.
And out of the box.
Important. Yes. So that falls under like better quality.
Yes, simpler. It's like it's just like you don't want to open it up and rewire the motherboard. But like if you buy like $100 one or a $300 one, you may have to do some tweaking. You may have to, it's like, that's why I spent $3,000 when I first got started. Cause I was like, I don't know anything about electrics. I don't know anything. I don't want to deal with this printer. Like I just want to put my design in and hit a button. Like that's what I wanted. And then over time I'm like, oh, I just have to learn this stuff because that's just the nature of the beast. Okay. And so that's kind of where I'm at.
All right. So more money. I feel it. So more money will get me better quality.
Yes.
But will it get
bigger size?
It'll get me a bigger size?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Will it give me more speed?
No. It'll probably be. No. I mean, maybe a little bit, but
but like, not really.
Yeah, it's kind of
that's
like
not their pitch.
It's not there yet. Like
their pitch would be a bigger size.
Yes.
Which
and easier.
Which is probably the main pitch. If I were gonna talk to a salesman who was selling 3D printers,
they're gonna
and I wanted $3,000 and a $20,000 one, their main sales point would be this is gonna be less hassle.
Right, and maybe you can use more materials or something. Okay. They might pitch that too.
And you can only use one material the whole time, like one color.
Right now, there are ones that have multi materials, or there's like a little piece that you can buy that you might have 4 or 5 different colors coming in, and it'll literally like slice and dice the thing together, which seems strange to me, but it's just early. So that's why I'm just trying to think of like just solid single color objects. I'm just kind of going with the flow, as the technology gets better, I'll adapt, my designs. What's the best ideas you've ever had, come across with, or anything that's that size and that's plastic?
What's your best seller of the things you have?
I've just been giving my files away for free. Like that's what I've been doing.
No. See, I guess I wasn't asking about the files. I guess I was asking about like the actual product.
Oh yeah. So the most that
that's interesting. That's interesting how you thought of files, because I was thinking like
products,
which those are two different things. Because
totally.
They're different customers.
Exactly. Different customers. Right. You've got your tech heads who want the files.
Right.
Like on Instagram, if you post something cool, it's like, where's the file? Where's the file? Where's the file? Where's the file? Right. They want the file.
You should be like, you can buy it from me.
That's what I'm doing. And I'll have some free ones and some premium ones that, and they get access to all of them, or
they want to print it themselves.
Yes. They want to print it themselves. And they want to put a photo of it on Instagram or YouTube or just put it on their desk.
Right.
But and then you've got your other customer who's like, I don't care what it is, how it gets, I just want it because it looks cool and it better be here in 2 days.
So from that, exactly. So from that customer's point of view, what's the most successful 3D printed product that you can make? What has been successful? I
haven't gone in there. I've literally had my Shopify store for like 2 years, and we've done a few shirts and stuff, but I'm like, I need to sell these products to normal people who don't want to 3D print. So that's what I'm going into the next few months is I'm just going to be pumping out product every week, or as many as I can pump out a day that are awesome products. And then
it's
trying to figure that out.
It's interesting because from a business perspective,
yes,
you're customer based, people who know you, they're interested in 3D printing. So they see it, they're like, oh, cool, they want the file.
Yeah, they want the file.
But when you start selling the products, it seems like, I don't know what your Shopify store, I'm not sure if that's the site I looked at, but you might be pitching these are 3D printed products.
Right now I'm not. Right now it's just go get the file. But my future marketing, because I've been leading with selling a course and teaching people, and I hate the course. I hate courses. They already have a bad taste in my mind too. But I love
your thing though.
I love helping people. I love teaching people. So I'm and I love filmmaking. So I was and I love entrepreneurship. So or being an entrepreneur.
And,
so I was
and you have a great personality.
Right. So I was I'm just gonna merge all these together and try and build
it's a little bit of like a content business.
Yeah, it's a content. It's an edutainment. That's what I think.
Edutainment, and that's cool. And that's I like that. And that's one side of the business.
So my value is humor and showing how cool these machines can be, but you need to learn design. You have to learn design because that's where the fun is and the power and the
But then I guess
cash.
my curiosity, my question was like, from the consumer standpoint of people who don't know what 3D printing is and don't care.
Yeah.
What are some of like the best products? Like,
I think anything for your phone. I think things for people's phones, amplifiers. Like I posted a photo of someone that did like, it was just an amplifier that you put your phone in. It was like skyrocketing. I was like, okay, that's what, like I curate a lot of things on Instagram and then, you know, just to inspire myself and other people, but also to get the data on like, what are people reacting to? And it's usually like things that are on your phone, things that are small that they can print or things that can just help them around the house. Like that's kind of, or, you know, things that like, things for like everyday items, like their phone, batteries, SD cards.
And I guess from consumer point of view, if you find an amazing product that can be 3D printed, some other company is making it in bulk in China that can sell it for cheaper.
Exactly.
So like you're not going to be competitive in that. Just because you can 3D print it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be competitive in the market of that product. Like a fork, you can make a fork, I'm sure. Like, but why would someone buy a fork from you if they could get it?
They can get a 50 pack at Walmart for $5.
Right, and anything that's a hit.
Yeah,
is going to be mass produced for to be cheaper, so it doesn't really matter. So that's why probably why you've gravitated towards that audience.
And I've been leading with trying to sell design. You know, or trying to teach somebody how to design, which is a big ask. It's like, hey, give me a week or 3 or 4 weeks of your time, plus a couple $100 plus investment. You know, like that's a harder sell to someone for most people who are lazy. You know, most people don't want to learn something. They're just like, I just want it. So now I'm like, okay, maybe I need to lead with amazing products that inspire people, you know, and figure out that business model of like how to, you know, make money with 3D print design, you know, outsourcing and selling designs across the globe. And then say, hey, you know, you can do this too if you just learn design. You know, that's another. So it's like, I'm trying to play with that at the moment.
It's interesting because eventually all the money in the market would probably come from a product that's being sold, but it's hard to sell it because it could be mass produced better by something else.
Right.
So okay. That's like the little thing you're dealing with. Like,
and then just trying to figure that out. And that's what nobody is talking about. Like, and everybody in like the YouTube space, they're all like doing 3D printer reviews and like talking about different types of material, like filament. I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care about any of that shit. Like, that's like, those are just going to be like old news in like a few months or a few years. But like, I'm trying to teach people like, okay, how do we turn, and nobody's talking about making money, by the way, because everything's free. Like all the designs are free. So it's like taboo if you talk about making money with it.
And it seems to be a community of hobbyists.
Totally.
Which is probably why.
Yeah. So if you come in like, hey, we're going to make money. They're like, oh, get out of here. This is going to be free. It's got to be free forever. Yeah. And I'm like, guys, no, like I'm trying to get you hobbyists to make money so you can quit the job that you fucking hate and you can do this all the time.
Live a life that you love.
Yeah. And so I'm just like, so I'm going to figure it out and then like teach them how to do it because I'm not scared to talk about money or to go that route. So that's kind of my new mission.
That's awesome. That's a great mission. And what's tell people what your site is and everything.
Oh yeah. So I'm Print That Thing on everything. TikTok.
Print That Thing.
Yeah, YouTube. I'm working on my YouTube right now. So I'm trying to get up our subscribers, maybe hit like 100K this year. That's the goal.
Yeah, you have a big following. I saw you have a big following on Instagram.
Yeah, I did YouTube since like 2014, and it was just a hobby. I was like, I'm just gonna make things and just give everything away, and then eventually I'll be a full-time YouTuber. You know, I was living that dream, and it worked, and it was great. You know, I made like cat armor and a bunch of really popular designs. Yeah, and it got a lot of attention. But then I was like, I'm not making any money. Like because I'm a filmmaker. I came from film, so I'm like charging $100 an hour to make a music video or a film or something. And I'm like, I'm putting in 40 plus hours on this YouTube channel and making like $5. You know, like, I've got 3,000 people that just downloaded a file, but like I didn't get any, you know, the website that's hosting it got all the like ad revenue.
Yeah, man. It's hard to make money in the content business. Like this is like episode 49 of my podcast.
Congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah. Like, I have a YouTube channel, like all that stuff. Like, never made a penny. Like, and it definitely takes time. And I have the luxury of, My business is my business. That's my main thing. Like my breakdown of time is 95% of the time running my business.
Right.
5% of my time doing the podcasting stuff. And I have Brandon, my man over here.
Hey, Brandon.
He helps me with like the editing and
content.
And the reason I'm able to pay him is because I have a business. So like, it's almost like a side project for me. It's like the content model, but
but it's very important. It's very important.
And it could be something someday. Like I enjoyed it. I would do this for free. I'm having fun learning about this.
It's great.
It is exploring the world and meeting people and stuff. And one day my kids can watch it. And speaking of future technology, speaking of future technology, I've heard that one day they'll be able to take all your catalog of all the talking you've ever done throughout your life and like program that into like robot version of you where you can live after you die. So when I heard about that, I was like, I need to start recording it can be more accurate and a better version of you if they have more stuff.
More data.
So, more data. Like if you have one voice recording, you're not gonna. But if they have thousands of podcast episodes and YouTube videos, you can live after you die.
Yeah, totally.
That's literally one of my reasons for starting a podcast.
I love it. No, that's great. That's hilarious. I've never had anyone think of it like that, but that's
100%.
It's definitely going to happen.
One of the reasons. Yeah.
Especially with like VR and stuff, they'll have like 3D versions of you. You know, people could go back in memories and it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, so it's cool. And the content business is fun. It's a fun conversation, right?
Yeah, totally. I've had a blast.
But I get that it's definitely hard. So that's cool. It's cool watching. It's interesting and fun watching people trying to monetize because I'm not even like trying at this point. Like
right. I'm trying.
Yeah, right. So you're at the point and you're thinking about it. So you got your views.
I'm trying not to get a normal job.
Yeah. I love the fact, dude. I love the fact that you said you downsized your house.
Oh yeah, totally.
That is ballsy and amazing,
dude,
man.
I
commend as an entrepreneur. I commend you for that.
It's great. It was great. It actually taught me a lot, and getting rid of a lot of stuff like released a lot of like things. I don't know. I can't explain it, but like it was very freeing. It was very freeing. It was
you
like,
hear that.
cool.
You hear that. Elon Musk said he just got rid of like 2 of his houses or something like that.
2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but like, I mean, essentially we just bought a patch of land because I have this dream of like 3D printing a house. I just think that would be so cool. And then I'm going to document.
You're not even kidding about that.
No, I'm not kidding at all. Like I'm going to 3D print a house or like a workshop, but I'm going to document it. And then, because I'm a filmmaker, I love documentary film. So I'm going to make a documentary about the highs and lows of how do you 3D print a house? How do you get through the regulations and all these things? Right. And then make a documentary, sell it on Netflix or Hulu or something. If no one buys it, I'll just put it on YouTube.
There you go. That's awesome. That's cool content. And 3D printing a house, I mean, it's a big
project.
You have to be a big printer?
Yeah. Or you could do it modularly. There's a company
you could just live inside the printer.
Yeah, I mean, I want to. That's what when I first started, I was like, I want to print big shit. Like, I don't want to 3D print. I don't want to print like little Yodas and stuff. Like, I want to print a bicycle. Like, I want to print a couch.
So
a house.
You can only print that. You can only print that because you're limited by the size of the printer.
Yes, or you have to put it cut it up in pieces and glue it together like that.
Okay,
you can do that.
Pieces.
That's post processing.
I was gonna say because I'm imagining this 3D printer that has to be as big as a house in order to make the house.
It could be like on a crane. Yeah,
I'm live inside the printer. There you go. And there you go.
Yeah. I mean, eventually, I want a garage size printer. You could build
the house, but say you wanted the house to be bigger than that, you could do it piece by piece.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's they're all playing with different things. So there's the company Wasp that's doing it with earth material, like cob, like Adobe, which I am really a big fan of because it's all natural material. And then there's companies like Branch Technology in Chattanooga that are doing it all modular. And then they bring the parts to your plot of land and put it together. And then there's other ones that like have the big, huge concrete printers that are like squirting out squirting out concrete and they're ginormous, but they look really weird to me.
I mean, at this point, again, it's probably more practical to get a regular construction company.
Yes,
but you want to do it for the.
I'm doing it for the fun. Yeah, why not? I just want to. I've always wanted to build a cob house, like a tiny cob house, out of all the trees and the land that I'm paying for. You know, I want to just use the natural materials that are already there.
That's so
and
cool.
make something. But
that's so cool.
If I can do it with a printer, that'll be fun too.
so thinking about making money, I've been processing this thought, and I mentioned it before. I can't think of any better way to make money than monogrammed keychains.
Do it. I'll help you. I gave you all my classes. You have access to all of them.
Right.
I'll help you.
Because a regular keychain.
Let's do it.
A regular keychain, no logic to it. Because anyone can, because you can mass produce them at a bigger thing.
Right.
And that's the only, and I don't know, you can't like make a mold of it and get a bunch. You don't want to get a bunch.
You could.
That's stupid because if you get 100 orders and they're all 100 different ones, it's not worth it. So it has to be worth it. And it has to make sense. And you can't have a competitor as a business model.
Right.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't know if I'd have to Google monogrammed keychains. I would imagine that they would be like a metal, like
you can do metal.
I would imagine they'd be a metal or gold, like little circle, and then there would be a sticker that went on it, and that would make it. That's what I think. But I'm imagining.
I see. Yeah.
A monogram is 3 letters. It's a girl's 3 letters. A, B, C, whatever. That's what monograms are. Last name in the middle. It's actually very popular, like in the South, but monograms are huge, whatever. So it has to have 3 letters. That's what makes it a monogram. That's it. That's what we sell. It has to have a monogram on it.
Right.
So we embroider them on the left chest, and then we have like designs, and inside the design there's a monogram. Right. So a keychain could be like the letters, like the A, B, C.
Yes, totally.
And like with spaces out of them, like like in the shape of their monogram.
Yep.
And I can't imagine any other way to mass produce that, because you don't want to get 1 million ABCs. If you have 1 million orders, they're literally all different 3-letter initials.
Right.
And I've learned that there's so many different 3-letter initials and 2-letter initials.
Yes.
That because I've thought about this before. Because we have so many different files. But then when you had color, it's not possible. So
totally,
you'd have to 3D print each order that came in.
Yeah.
And that would be
print on demand.
That would be the most practical way that exists in the world to manufacture that product.
Yeah, and we're entering into the age of customization, or the illusion of
that sounds good to me.
Yes. So people, even if it's real customization or the illusion of customization, where people can be like, oh, I get to type in my 3 initials.
And customization sucks from a manufacturing standpoint.
Right, but with 3D printing, it doesn't have to. There's a way to do it, but I don't know what it is yet. But we're gonna figure it out. Dude, I'm gonna let you know if I figure it out.
I think I just found literally the most practical business model for 3D printing.
There you go.
And it's that.
And the tiny things, like it would cost even if you got them in metal, like something that size would cost like less than like $5 to print in metal or plastics. Like maybe not metal, but plastics you could probably get it done for like less than $1 or a few plus shipping.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that
a few bucks
doesn't exist out there anywhere elsewhere. And it's just they put it on their keys. Like oh.
Totally.
And then I like anything that can get me into. I'm a practical efficiency businessman, but I'm also interested in this stuff.
Yes.
So I can't just buy one for a hobby. I don't got time.
Right.
Or patience for that shit.
Right. Totally.
But I'm interested if it can ultimately like be a moneymaker for me. So
totally.
there is my end to.
Yeah. That's what I'm into.
Small little things.
Small things.
When I'm thinking, so help me out here. So anything besides a keychain?
Like, it could be anything for a phone. You could do like simple. I mean, people love things for their phone. You could do monogram cell phone cases.
Cell phone cases
that are thin. They're thin and small. I don't know.
Here's the thing. Anything that's a cell phone case, like
it's all going to change.
But no, you could also just put a sticker on it.
That's true. That's true.
A lot of things you can put a sticker on,
and people already have their cases.
Right. And you can mass produce the case, and then you put the sticker on it.
Yeah.
So then and that technology is something way different than 3D printing. That's different.
Right.
So that takes out your competitive advantage. Yes. But not the keychain with. That's why I said I think any keychain now would be a little metal one. You put the sticker on it.
Right.
But if it's shaped out, their initials, there's no other way to manufacture that.
Yeah, or you could do like that's what I'm thinking more. Like I've been playing around with some jewelry, like really small
earrings,
like you could little things, because then like you could sell them for like $20 to $40. Yeah, a necklace.
And I would get a part around the neck from something else.
Exactly.
But then I would 3D print a little piece.
Right. And then and this or just sell the charm. Yeah.
There's
lots of different. It's literally endless. Like it could be. But it's just still early.
There's engraving machines.
Mm-hmm.
But that's different than.
And that'll be faster. I mean, that's the thing. You might have to sell it as like it's custom made for you.
That's everything we do. Is like
I know, yeah, but 3D maybe it's like it's the future. I don't know.
You have to I don't know. See, I don't think that would work because my customers just want the product.
Right, they don't care.
What you have to sell them on is like what it is. So what matters is if they really like. Okay, so you buy the metal one, you put the sticker on it, but they like this one more that has their initials carved out. But then another one could be a piece of plastic that is an engraved that like. I think it would just like imprint there in it.
Yep.
So so that's a technology that is already exists and mass produced. So they would have to like the
style.
Yeah.
The design.
Better than the alternatives that exist.
Right. It all comes back to the design.
yeah, exactly. The design. And then we have like all our files automated where if someone buys something on the website, ABC, it took a lot of work for us to have it be automated and then sent to a server. Then we can produce it. It's like it's one of my proudest accomplishments in my young business career.
Good job. Yeah, that is
because we used to have to have someone place an order, ABC, that's their initials, and then someone would have to go to Photoshop and make the file, and then so we literally took that out. Yeah. So maybe you could help me with that part.
And that's the thing. I'm learning code because if you can learn code, then that's the automation part where they can just type it in, boom, it makes the file automatically, spits it out, sends it to the mass producer. Right. Boom. I don't have to do anything.
What I would do would be list the product, see if anyone buys it. If someone buys it, hand make their initials, print it, ship it to them. And then if it starts getting hot, then I would try to automate that process and like that's cool.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to be trying to figure out with 3D this year.
Awesome. And I get access to your thing.
You've got all the classes. You've got all my designs. So if you do get a 3D printer, you can print stuff. You can make your own stuff.
All right. And for anyone listening, if you're interested, Sean.ptt.live.
Yes.
And if you use my coupon code, Sean25, to sign up, then you could be one of my favorite listeners.
Yeah, and you'll get 25% off for 3 months. So we do subscriptions or any of our products. So
awesome.
If you want to try design, do it.
That's all going to be linked up in the description for the podcast. Cool. So you are just the 3D printing guy.
I'm trying to be.
And dude, I mean, as the industry rises, like people are going to be like me. I'm interested. I went out searching for people that are the best people to talk to about this, and I found you. And that is, so you're kind of like connecting and banking yourself on the industry being huge.
Yeah, and I just like to design, and I like to make videos and teach people.
And perfect.
So I like entrepreneurship. So exactly, it's just all of it together.
And if the industry takes off, you will. It's just like investing in something early on.
Exactly.
You'll be.
I'm an early adopter. Yes.
You're an early adopter, and you'll be the face of it. I'm an early adopter.
Yes, exactly. One of the faces, but really, I was reading a lot of books about like increasing your circle of influence, like people and I'm like, I don't know any designers. Like, I don't know any. So I was like, well, I'm gonna create a community of designers. So and just doing this within the few years, like I've met so many designers all across the globe. Like I can ask them questions, they can ask me questions, like on our little Discord community. It's just great. Like I have friends all over the place. So it's like if I go to the UK, I can call up, so and so.
Yeah, your 3D printing. Your 3D printing.
Yeah, I'll be like, yo, hey, if you're ever in Nashville, like come hang out at the 3D printed house. That's gonna be.
It's almost like being a huge. It's almost like being a huge fan of like a certain band and like.
Exactly. But just in an industry, and so
that's really cool. That's really cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Anything else you gotta add? Anything else on your mind? Like,
oh yeah, I think
I learned a lot, legitimately.
Oh yeah, me too from you. But I think I don't know. I have like I go back and forth because like plastic, there's the big plastic problem. So one of my goals is to also figure out a way.
That's so true.
What?
It's like global warming,
it's terrible.
The economy,
we don't need
trying to
more
get rid of plastic. Right.
Yeah, we do not need more plastic. So one of my goals is two of my goals is to close the gap where, okay, say I've got this little 3D printed benchy, this little boat here. And I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. Like, I don't need this anymore, right? I can throw it in a bin and it crushes it down and just makes more filament. So it's like Play-Doh. So I'm going to try and figure out that. Like, how do we do that easily and get more people doing that? Like, be mindful. Yeah, so that's one of my things. Like, be mindful of your plastic is one. And then also, I would like to create like a workshop in the future where it's like, I can literally just go out and just go get mountains of plastic and trash and like turn the trash into cash and then create new products with it, but hopefully we'll find out a new type of medium like the mushrooms or something that it's more organic. It doesn't have to be plastic. So that's something I'm going to try and help with.
It can decompose in the
earth. It'll just decompose or it's like good for your skin or, something like that. So I'm kind of in that realm of trying to be a leader in that.
That's very interesting. Yeah, the reuse, like it's not, I'm assuming that right now, say you heat up that thing and melt it down. You can't just put it back in and have it be filament, right?
You can, but you have to have like these big machine, like these little machines. So I'm trying and figure out, there's people doing it, but there's different types of plastic. The little recycle symbol and it's got the number. There's like 10 or 15 different types of plastic. So you got to organize it, clean it. It's a job. So I'm going to just be trying to, figure out a closed loop system.
That seems to be an important part of pitching the industry as a whole to society.
Yeah, it's just very, I don't know. There's pros and cons. I actually was so gung ho. I was like, woohoo! I got my business going. Yeah. And then I watched a documentary on plastics, and I was like, oh shit! I was like, I'm just helping add to this problem. So I was like, no, I'm gonna flip it, and I'm gonna try and be a helper. And try and figure out how to.
Right.
Flip it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the easy way is reusing it and having some stream do that maybe in your house.
Right.
And the second
or in your community. Yeah.
Yeah. Or in your community, which makes it a little harder.
Right.
Because of the organization element.
Right.
I try hard enough not to take my recycling and my trash and drop it in the wrong bin in my garage.
Right.
That's hard. That's hard enough for me. Yeah. Forget community.
Totally. Totally.
But then the other thing would be the different types of filament, which. Who would be the person to do that? A chemist?
I think so. Yeah.
A chemist?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But there's lots of. I know. No, not yet.
You got to find the chemists.
Yes.
And pitch them and get them in this community.
Yeah.
And
get them working.
That's a good move. You should get some chemists on your. You got to find a chemist who's also a nerdy tinkerer.
Exactly. I'm sure they're listening. They're probably going to find. They're out there. They're somewhere.
And they would need to use chemistry to get a reusable or decomposable 3D printing filament.
Yes, exactly. That's natural.
Okay. All right. So that's the future. That's important. That's definitely important. Yeah. But wow, there are a lot of possibilities with this stuff.
Yeah, it's really literally cool. Endless. It's just a problem-solving machine.
Yeah, and
it creates problems at the same time.
Of course. But just like anything,
like everything, exactly.
Just like electric cars, Bitcoin, it's going to be so fun to watch where this goes about it. And now that I did a podcast about it, I feel much more tuned in and able to talk on the subject and have it more on my radar.
Good. Yeah, and, you'll start seeing stuff more and more. It'll be popping up.
And I'm looking into these monogram keychains.
Dude, yeah, let me know if you have any questions.
I'm gonna look into I'm gonna look into the market.
Yes.
And just go to our competitors.
Yes.
See what kind of jewelry and keychains they have. See what people like, and see how they're manufacturing it. And if I can find the product and market fit that the only way to produce it the best is 3D printing, then I'm in.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And it may just be early, but yeah, I'll send you some links too later.
Cool. Awesome. Dude, this has been awesome.
This has been real fun.
All right,
Thank you, Sean.
You're the man. And everyone, thanks for listening. And go to ptt.live. Check out Jayson. He's the man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to have a live seminar next week. So if anyone has questions, next Wednesday at noon, we're gonna do a live little seminar.
Okay. All right. Yeah, this is gonna be coming out Monday.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, in 2 days.
Yeah, so 2 days. Yes. to you people listening in the future. All right, man. You're the man. Thanks so much.
Later.
Peace out.